crying with anguish, when they saw a branded serpent fall so full amongst them from above, and from Jove's fowl let fall. They took it and ostent from him, stood frighted. They took it and ostent from him, stood frighted, and their cause Polydamas thought just, and spake. Hector, you know applause of humor hath been far from me. Hector, and all our friends of Troy, we indiscreetly make offering. 1, 2, 3. Polydamas thought just, and spake. Hector, you know applause of humor hath been... Hector, you know applause of humor hath been far from me, nor fits it, or in war, or in nor fits it, or in war, or in affairs of court, a man employed in public care to blanch things further than their truth, or flatter any power. And therefore, for that simple course your strength hath oft... Simple course... And therefore, for that simple course your strength hath oft been sour. Your strength hath oft been sour to me in counsels. Yet again, what shows in my thoughts best, I must discover. Let us cease, and make their flight our rest for this day's honor, and not now attempt the Grecian fleet. For this, I fear, will be the event. The prodigy doth meet so full with our affair in hand. As this high-flying fowl upon the left wing of our host, implying our control, hovered above us, and did truss within her golden sares a serpent so imbrued and big, which yet in all her fears kept life and fervent spirit to fight, and wrought her own kept life and fervent spirit to fight, and wrought her own release. Nor did the eagle's eyrie feed, and wrought her own release. Nor did the eagle's eyrie feed. So though we thus far press upon the Grecians, and perhaps may overturn their wall, our high minds aiming at their fleet, and that we much appall their trust spirits. Yet are they so serpent-like disposed that they will fight, though in our seres, and will at length be loosed with all our outcries. And the life of many a Trojan breast shall with the eagle fly, before we carry to our nest them or our navy. Thus expounds the augur this ostent. Thus expounds the augur this ostent, whose depth he knows, and these should fear. Hector with countenance bent thus answered him. Trojans and hardy Greeks. Should fear. Hector with countenance bent thus answered him. Polydamas, your depth in augury I like not. I know passing well thou dost not satisfy thyself in this opinion. Or if thou think'st it true, thy thoughts the gods blind to advise and urge that as our due that breaks our duties, and to Jove as our due, urge that as our due, that breaks our duties, and to Jove, whose vow and sign, that has our due, that breaks our duties, and to Jove, whose vow and sign to me is passed directly for our speed. Yet light-winged birds must be, by thy advice, our oracles, whose feathers little stay my serious actions. What care I, if this or the other way their wild wings away them, if the right on which the sun doth rise, or to the left hand where he sets? 'Tis Jove's high counsel flies with those wings that shall bear up us. Flies with those wings that shall bear up us. Jove that both earth and heaven, both men and gods, sustains and rules. One augury is given to order all men. Best of all, fight for one augury is sustains and rules. One augury is given to order all men, best of all, fight for thy country's right. But why fear'st thou our further charge? For thou the dangerous fight strew all men. Here about the fleet, yet thou needst never fear to bear their fates. Thy weary heart will never trust thee where an enemy's look is. And yet fight, for if thou darest abstain, where an enemy's look is. And yet fight, for if thou darest abstain, or whisper into any ear an abstinence so vain as thou advisest, never fear that any foe shall take thy life from thee, for 'tis this lance. This said, all forwards make himself the first. Yet before him exulting clamor flew, and thunder-loving Jupiter from lofty Ida blew. A storm that ushered their assault, and made them charge like him. It drave directly on the fleet, a dust so fierce and dim that it amazed the Grecians, but was a grace divine to Hector and his following troops, who wholly did incline to him, being now in grace with Jove, and so put boldly on to raise the rampire, in whose height they fiercely set upon the parapets and pulled them down. Rampire, in whose height they fiercely set upon the parapets and pulled them down, raised every foremost fight, and all the buttresses of stone that held their towers upright they tore. With crows of iron, and hoped to ruin all. The Greeks yet stood, and still repaired the forfights of their wall with hides of oxen, and from thence they poured down stones in showers upon the underminers' heads. Within the foremost towers both the Ajaces had command, who answered every part the assaulters, and their soldiers repressed and put in heart, repairing valor as their wall. The assaulters and their soldiers repressed and put in heart, repairing valor as their wall. And put in heart, repairing valor as their wall. In heart, repairing valor as their wall. Spake some fair, some reproved, whoever made not good his place, and thus they all sorts moved. All right, let's use big Ajax for this one, even though it doesn't specify which Ajax it is. Ajax greater. Oh, friends, the lot is mine. They all sorts moved. Oh, countrymen, now need in aid would have excess be spent. The excellent must be admired, the meanest excellent, the worst do well. The excellent must be admired, the meanest excellent, the worst do well. In changing war, all should not be alike, nor any idle, which to know fits all, lest Hector strike your minds with frights, as ears with threats. Forward be all your hands, urge one another. This doubt down that now betwixt us stands, Jove will go with us to their walls. This doubt down that now betwixt us stands, Jove will go with us to their walls. Jove will go with us to their walls. To this effect aloud spake both the princes, and as high with this the expulsion flowed. And as in winter time, when Jove his cold sharp javelins throws amongst us mortals, and is moved to white earth with his snows, the winds asleep, he freely pours, till highest prominence, hilltops, low meadows, and the fields that crown with most contents, most contents, the toils of men. Seaports and shores are hid, and every place but floods, that snow's fair tender flakes as their own brood embrace. So both sides covered earth with stones. So both for life contend to show their sharpness. Through the wall uproar stood up on end. Nor had great Hector and his friends the rampire overrun, if heaven's great counselor, high Jove, had not inflamed his son, Sarpedon, like the stood up on end. Nor had great Hector and his friends the rampire overrun, if heaven's great counselor, high Jove, had not inflamed his son, Sarpedon, like the forest king when he on oxen flies against the Grecians. His round targe he to his arm applies, brass-leaved without. His round targe he to his arm applies, brass-leaved without, and all within thick oxhides quilted hard. The verge mailed round with rods of gold, and with 2 darts prepared he leads his people. As you see a mountain lion fair, long kept from prey, enforcing which his high mind makes him dare assault upon the whole full fold. Though guarded never so with well-armed men and eager dogs, away he will not go, but venture on, and either snatch a prey or be a prey. So fared divine Sarpedon's mind, resolved to force his way through all the forefights and the wall. Yet since he did not see others as great as he in name, as great in mind as he spake to Glaucus. He spake to Glaucus. All right, it's our Sarpedon voice. Hector, where is thy vaunt, and that huge strength on which it built. Thou, on which it built, that thou and thine allies. He spoke to Glaucus. Glaucus, say, why are we honored more than other men of Lycia in place, with greater store of meats and cups, with goodlier roofs, delightsome gardens, walks, more lands and better, so much wealth that court and country talks of us and our possessions, and every way we go gaze on us as we were gods. On us as we were gods. This where we dwell is so. The shores of Xanthus ring of this. And shall we not exceed as ring of this? And shall we not exceed as much in merit as in noise? Come. And shall we not succeed as much in merit as in noise? And shall we not succeed as much in merit as in noise? Come, be we great indeed. As well as look. Shine not in gold, but in the flames of fight, that so our neat-armed Lycians may say, see, these are right, our kings, our rulers. These are right, our kings, our rulers. These are right, our kings, our rulers. These deserve to eat and drink the best. These govern not ingloriously. Thus exceed the rest, do more than they command to do. O friend, if keeping back, we would keep back age from us and death, and that we might not wreck in this life's human sea at all, but that deferring now we shunned death ever. Nor would I half this vain valor show, nor glorify a folly so, nor glorify a folly so, to wish thee to advance. But since we must go, though not here, and that besides the chance propose it now, there are infinite fates of other sort in death. Propose it now, there are infinite fates of other sort in death. There are infinite fates. Propose it now, there are infinite fates of other sort in death, which neither to be fled nor escaped a man must sink beneath. Come, try we, if this sort be ours, and either render us glory to others, or make them resign the like to us. To be fled nor escaped. There are infinite fates of other sort. There are infinite fates of other sort in death. There are infinite fates of other sort in death. There are infinite fates of other sort in death, which neither to be fled nor escaped a man must sink beneath. Come, try we, if this sort be ours, and either render thus glory to others, or make them resign the like to us. Come, try we, if this sort be ours, and either render us glory to others, or make them resign the like. or make them resign the like to us, or make them resign the like to us. This motion Glaucus shifted not. To us. This motion Glaucus shifted not, but without words obeyed. Forright went both, a mighty troop of Lycians follow it. A mighty troop of Lycians follow it, which by Menestheus observed, his hair stood up on end, for at the tower where he had charge, he saw Calamity bend. He saw Calamity bend her horrid brows in their approach. He threw his looks about the whole flights. He threw his looks about the whole fights near, to see what chief might help the misery out of his poor soldiers, and beheld where both the Ajaces fought, and Teucer newly come from fleet, whom it would profit not to call, since tumult on their helms, shields, and upon the ports laid such loud claps. For every way defenses of all sorts were adding, as Troy took away. And clamor flew so high, her wings struck heaven, and drowned all voice. The two dukes yet so nigh, and at the offer of assault, he to the Ajaces sent. He to the Ajaces sent Thoos, the herald, with this charge. It's got to be Thoos, right? Yeah. To the Ajaces sent Thoos, the herald, with this charge. Thoos, the herald, with this charge. All right, we're going to make a note here for Menestheus. It is currently 30 minutes. Okay. Run to the regiment of both the Ajaces. Run to the regiment of both the Ajaces, and call both. The Ajaces sent Thoos, the herald, with this charge. Run to the regiment of both the Ajaces, and call both, for both were better here, since here will slaughter. Run to the regiment of both the Ajaces, and call both, for both were better here, since here will slaughter instantly be more enforced than there. The Lycian captains this way make, who in the fights of stand have often showed much excellence, yet if laborious hand be there, Yet, if laborious hand be there more needful than I hope, at least afford us some. Let Ajax Telamonius and the archer Teucer come. At least afford us some. Let Ajax Telamonius and the archer Teucer come. The herald hasted and arrived, and both the Ajaces told that Petius' noble son desired their little labor. Would hold employ himself in succoring him. Ah, okay. noble son desired their little labor would employ. Told that piteous noble son desired their little labor would employ himself in succoring him. Both their supplies were best, succoring him. Both their supplies were best, since death assailed. Supplies were best, since death assailed. Both their supplies were best, since death assailed his quarter most. Since death assailed his quarter most. For on it fiercely pressed the well-proved mighty Lycian chiefs. Yet, if the service there allowed not both, he prayed that one part of his charge would bear. And that was Ajax Telamon, with whom he wished would come the archer Teucer. Telamon left instantly his room to strong Lycomedes, and willed Ajax Oiliades. Let's just check these. Lycomedes, Oiliades. Lycomedes, and willed Ajax Oiliades with him to make up his supply. And fill with courages the Grecian hearts till his return, which should be instantly when he had well relieved his friend. With this the company of Teucer he took to his aid. Teucer that did descend as Ajax did from Telamon. With these two did attend Pandion that bore Teucer's bow. Pandion? With these two did attend Pandion that bore Teucer's bow. When to Menesthius' tower they came, alongst the wall they found him. And his heartened power. Toiling in making strong their fort. The Lycian princes set black, whirlwind-like, with both their powers upon the parapet. Ajax and all resisted them. Clamor amongst them rose. The slaughter Ajax led, who first the last dear sight did close. Of strong Epicles, that was friend to Jove's great Lycian son. Amongst the high munition heap, a mighty marble stone lay highest near the pinnacle, a stone of such a pace that none of this time's strongest men with both hands could not raise. A stone of such a pace that one of this time's strongest men with both hands could not raise. Yet this did Ajax rouse and throw, and all in sherds did drive Epicles' four-topped casque and skull, who, as you see one dive in some deep river, left his height. Life left his bones withal. Teucer shot Glaucus, his bones withal. Teucer shot Glaucus, rushing up yet higher on the wall, where naked he discerned his arm, and made him steal retreat from that hot service, lest some Greek with an insulting threat, beholding it, might fright the rest. Threat, beholding it, might fright the rest. Sarpedon much was grieved at Glaucus' parting, yet fought on, and his great heart relieved a little with Alcmaeon's blood. Surnamed Thestorides. Alcmaeon, Thestorides. Okay. At Glaucus' parting, yet Sarpedon much was grieved at Glaucus' parting, yet fought on, and his great heart relieved a little with Alcmaeon's blood, surnamed Thestorides, whose life he hurled out with his lance, which, following through the priest, he drew from him. Down from the tower Alcmaeon dead it struck, his fair arms ringing out his death. Then fierce Sarpedon took in his strong hand the battlement, and down he tore it quite. The wall stripped naked, and broad way for entry and full fight he made the enemy. Against him Ajax and Teucer made. Teucer the rich belt on his breast did with a shaft invade, but Jupiter averted death. And full fight he made the many. Against him Ajax and Teucer made. Teucer the rich belt on his breast did with a shaft invade, but Jupiter averted death, who would not see his son die at the tails of the Argive ships. Ajax did fetch his run, and with his lance struck through the targe of that brave Lycian king. Yet kept he it from further pass, nor did it anything dismay his mind, although his men stood off from that high way, his valor made them, which he kept, and hoped that stormy day should ever make his glory clear. That high way his valor made them, which he kept, and hoped that stormy day should ever make his glory clear. Okay, we need Sarpedon's voice again. Hector, where is thy unthankful vaunt? That Lycian king, yet kept he it from further press, nor did anything dismay his. Ajax did fetch his run, and with his lance struck through the targe of that brave Lycian king. Yet kept he it from further pass, nor did it anything dismay his mind, although his men stood off from that high way his valor made them, which he kept, and hoped that stormy day should ever make his glory clear. His men's fault thus he blamed. His men's fault thus he blamed. O Lycians, why are your hot spirits so quickly disinflamed? Suppose me ablest of you all, 'tis hard for me alone to ruin such a wall as this, and make confusion way to their navy. Lend your hands, What many can dispatch, one cannot think. The noble work of many hath no match. Cannot think. The noble work of many hath no match. Of many hath no match. The wise king's just rebuke did strike a reverence. The wise king's just rebuke did strike a reverence to his will through all his soldiers. All stood in, and 'gainst all the archives still made strong their squadrons, insomuch that to the adverse side the work showed mighty, and the wall was to the adverse side the work showed mighty, and the wall, when 'twas within descried, no easy service. Yet the Greeks could neither free the wall of these brave Lycians, that held firm the place they first did scale. Nor could the Lycians from their fort the sturdy Grecians drive, nor reach the fleet. But as two men's about the limit strive of lands that toucheth in a field, their measures in their hands, they meet their parts out curiously, and either stiffly stands that so far is his right in law, both hugely set on fire about a passing little ground. So greedily aspire both these foes to their several ends, and all exhaust passing little ground. So greedily aspire both these foes to their several ends, and all exhaust their most about the battlements, very battlements. For yet no more was lost. With sword and fire they vexed them, their targes hugely round. With swords and fire they vexed them, their targes hugely round. With ox hides lined and bucklers light. And many a ghastly wound the stern steel gave that one for prize. Whereof though some received their portions on their naked backs, yet others were bereaved of brave lives. Yet others were bereaved of brave lives, face turned through their shields. Towers, bulwarks, everywhere were freckled. Bulwarks everywhere were freckled with the blood of men. Nor yet the Greeks did bear base back-turned faces, nor their foes would therefore be outfaced. But as a spinster poor and just ye sometimes see straight-laced about the weighing of her web, who careful having charge for which she would provide some means, is loath to be too large in giving or in taking weight, but ever with her hand is doing the weights and the wool. With her hand is doing with the weights and wool, till both in just pays stand. So evenly stood it with these foes, till Jove to Hector gave the turning of the scales, who first against the rampire drave, and spake so loud that all might hear. Oh, stand not at the pale, brave Trojan friends, but mend your hands, up and break through the wall, and make a bonfire of their fleet. through the wall, and make a bonfire of their fleet. All heard, and all in heaps got scaling ladders, and aloft. In mean space Hector leaps upon the port, whose outpart he leaps upon the port, from whose outpart he tore a massy stone, thick downwards, upward massy stone, thick downwards, upward edged, upward edged. It was so huge an one that two vast yeomen of most strength, such as these times beget, it was so huge an one that two vast yeomen of most strength, such as these times beget, could not from earth lift to a cart. Yet he did brandish it alone. Saturnius made it light. And swinging it as naught, he came before the planky gates that for all strength were wrought, and kept the planky gates that for all strength were wrought, and kept the port. Twofold they were, and with two rafters barred, high and strong locked. He raised the stone, bent to the hurl so hard, and made it with so main a strength that all the gates did crack. The rafters left them, and the folds one from another. The rafters left them, and the folds one from another break. The hinges piecemeal flew, and through the fervent little another break. The hinges piecemeal flew, and through the fervent little rock thundered a passage. With his weight, the in-wall his breast did knock, and in rushed Hector, fierce and grim as any stormy night. His brass arms round about his breast reflected terrible light. Each arm held up terrible light. Each arm held each a dart. His presence called up each a dart. His presence called up all the dreadful spirits his being held, that to the threatened wall none but the gods might check his way. His eyes were furnaces, and thus he looked back, called in all fired their courages, and in they flowed. The Grecians fled, their fleet now, and their freight asked all about their rescue. Their fleet now and their freight asked all their rescue. Greece went down. Tumult was at his height. And at their freight asked all their rescue. Greece went down. Tumult was at his height. Greece went down. Tumult was at his height. Tumult was at his height. Tumult was at his height. Greece went down. Tumult was at his height.